coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson Wood. I'm the board game teacher. Thanks for coming to my games room. I've actually been on holiday this last week, which is why I'm filming now in my basement, my games room for today. But I want to also take a step away today to talk about something that's actually not board game related, but definitely game related, and that is role-playing games. I want to flash back a few years to when I was a young student, grades 3, 4. I mean, I was a really poor student. I really was. You know, if you look at my report cards, it was C's and D's all over the place. And my common excuse was, when am I going to need this? When, just not motivated, just didn't care, just not interested. And, I kept saying, well, how can I possibly do well if I'm not interested in what I'm learning? And that was my attitude at the time. And it just goes to show me and remind me just how much games have meant to me, because it's through games that I did a lot of my learning, which is no discredit to my teachers. They did a fine job, I'm sure. It's just young me was not very motivated and had all these excuses why I couldn't do well. But what did motivate me and what did help me was things like doing a lot of role-playing games. I remember when I was at a young age, and the first role-playing game I ever heard of was Dungeons and Dragons. And the idea mystified me, how you could play a game without a board. And once we started playing it and looking and getting into it, I mean, we got into it really big back when it was in its first edition. And we used to just read everything that we could get our hands on. We would read the modules, we'd read the books, and that's what then launched us into other role-playing games. As more role-playing games started to come out, we started to read into more of these and start to become involved with them as well. We were into such games as Villains and Vigilantes, Top Secret, Gamma World, GURPS, Call of Cthulhu, more. And all these games have inspired us, as I said, to read and to read constantly. They also taught us so much in terms of vocabulary. I mean, from a young age, we knew things such things as alcoves, tomes, what a doppelganger was, anything to do with medieval, homes, castles, weaponry. We knew it. I mean, from a young age, we knew the difference between a stalactite and a stalagmite. D&D was also our first introduction to a bell curve. Where my math really started to pick up too was with games like GURPS, which required you to make a character based on a certain number of points. So you'd make, for example, a 100-point character, and then based on the statistics that you choose, the powers that you have, and the levels that they're at, each thing would be worth so many points. You'd be adding up the points, multiplying to find groupings of things, and then subtraction to find out how many points do I have left, and just doing this constantly, because I was always interested in here's a new idea for a character, here's a new idea for a character, and then before I knew it, I started to get fluent with my math facts. It's just that repetitious practice that I needed, but I wasn't willing to do without some sort of motivating factor like a fun game. Just wanted to show off too, I just got my new copy of Mighty Protectors, which is the new version of Villains and Vigilantes. I backed the Kickstarter for this not long ago, and it has arrived, so I'm excited to see this. But what I'm also looking for is I'm looking into a few games which are role-playing games more designed for younger ages. Mighty Protectors is actually quite complex. I'm going to look for something which I can more easily recommend to parents on this channel, to students on this channel, to people to use with younger kids, because that tends to be more of my target audience. If you are high school age watching this or working with high school kids, then maybe Mighty Protectors might be something for you. Villains and Vigilantes. There are a huge number of role-playing games out there, though, that you can check out too. And my mother was praising these role-playing games when we were teenagers because she knew where we were and what we were doing. We were stereotypically in somebody's basement playing these games rather than going out and getting into trouble. So she really liked that part of it. So when I find the game that I can recommend, I'll certainly be showing it on the channel. But for now, just know that there's this great wealth of ideas and opportunities out there for learning your language and math skills through other games. And that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Hopefully you got some new ideas today from some of the things I've talked about. Hopefully you'll go out there and check out some of the role-playing games that are available, and maybe set up something with local groups and with your family or something, because there's just, like I say, so much that can be enjoyed through this, and it's such a great thing to get young kids into. Until next time, I'm Craig Thompson Wood, the board game teacher, saying thanks for coming to my games room.
Are you coming back to school with